Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather, bringing you my latest long-range update here. Now, there's lots that we could talk about here tonight, most certainly. It's going to be a pretty quiet week overall. We're really going to focus mostly on this next weekend system coming in because I think that's the main system of interest. Let me just sort of show you this as you put the GFS into motion here. Here we are right now, Monday afternoon, and you can see there's a system moving well to our north here. Not really going to have any effect on us here in southern Indiana. In fact, we're going to stay pretty well high and dry for a few days. As we head towards the weekend, though, here's Friday, and you can see high pressure dominating even through Saturday afternoon. That starts to quickly retreat off to our west, and watch this system coming up here. Watch this low start to form and eject out of Texas up here. And what you can see is it moves up, kind of cuts to our south and then sort of cuts up here. There's a little bit of rain, there's a little bit of snow, there's a little bit of ice here in the pink. There's a nice little slop with it, if you want the honest opinion. So here we are. This would be during the overnight hours, Saturday night into Sunday morning. That's when the leading edge of the precip comes in here, according to this. And, it comes in with some counties seeing some rain, some counties seeing some snow, some counties seeing sort of a wintry mix of the two there before it turns over to mostly rain for most of southern Indiana and snow to our north before exiting. And then it has a little 1-2 shot. It has a little clipper system that comes down next Tuesday with that, about a week from now. So that's one potential solution. But before we go there, let's back up and see, because not everything is in agreement with this. And you know as well as I do, whenever you get these systems where we're right on the border with rain and snow, you generally bank on rain more than you do snow. That's just what tends to happen with this. And let me just show you what the Euro is saying here. Don't have the nice pretty maps here for the Euro and the color coded. They don't produce those. But here's what we do show. And again, the the first blue line here, the 540 line. Generally, that's your rain snow changeover line. And watch this as we come in here. A little bit of a slight difference in timing. Here you are at Saturday evening late, and then here is overnight into hours on Saturday night into Sunday. So this is a little faster than the GFS solution. And what's that? That rain snow line's well to our north. It's rain moving through. And so the Euro here is going to provide us from southern Indiana. Almost all of us would get a rainy solution out of this. And then as you go into the midweek solution behind that, where the GFS is giving us a clipper system here, it's a rainy system here for us as well on the Euro. It sees it as well, but it's rain. So big differences in this. What's the Canadian say? Well, here's the Canadian, and the Canadian has had some pretty wild runs lately, but here you come, a little bit faster than the GFS solution as well. Here you come into the overnight hours. Starts off as snow for many of us. A little bit of rain here towards the Ohio River counties. Some of us getting in on the snow action with this. We're quickly all turned over to rain in southern Indiana before it moves out. And then the system coming in Tuesday behind it, yeah, it's pretty much all rain too. Maybe some light snow on the back side of it, but nothing exciting. Now, these are the current runs of the models. They are varying all the time now, and that's to be expected. We go back here and you see this is the current Canadian solution. It starts off as snow and then moves to rain. Well, look at this solution from yesterday. And the Canadian solution yesterday was a much deeper low, pulled much colder air in, and you had a much more wintry kind of solution. So, of course, these things are going to lead to much different solutions for us if we just look at how much the GFS, not excited all that much about snow this afternoon, and it says maybe an inch or two for just a few of us this morning run. Pretty much had none of us in southern Indiana with much to speak of. And if you go over to the Canadian, you're seeing kind of that same thing. Evansville here getting the shaft in southern Indiana, up a half inch here, maybe up around up around Vincennes, and then an inch in Bloomington. Not much going on with that. You had this Canadian run, though, last night, which gave a pretty nice little winter storm, and this Canadian run yesterday that gave one heck of a winter storm to our north, and some of that spilled just over into our south as well. So the question is, what do you believe? Well, this far out, you don't believe any of it. That's the reality. You've got to look at the pattern itself and say, what does the pattern support? And right now, I hate to say this, folks, but the pattern supports more rain for us than it does snow. Here's what's going on here. You got the Arctic Oscillation. This is cold air on the move from Canada down available. When it's negative, that's cold air there available to be spilled down into here. Well, here's our storm on the 5th and it's right at neutral and trending negative. That's an encouraging sign that maybe some cold air could accompany this, but here's what I'm worried about. The NAO, the North Atlantic Oscillation, this is blocking up around Greenland. That helps to buckle that jet stream, slow those systems down, and helps to sort of funnel that cold air down into us a little bit more. And the reality is, if it's in the negative, you get that blocking. If it's neutral to positive, the blocking isn't there. And here's where we're at right now, slightly positive. We stay slightly neutral here, neutral to slightly negative for a few days, but then watch this. By the time the weekend is coming here, folks, we are pretty firmly in the positive, which if this is right, and there's still some questions about this. See all these bubbles that are on here? These are all old forecasts. The blue line is actually analyzed. So what this is telling you is the forecast hasn't been getting this overly well with this. And these are all different runs in the past. The white circles with the black outlines here is the current runs forecast. If this is right, though, and you see it's kind of bullseyed up into here over the past several runs that you see the times over here, if this is right, there's a lack of blocking this weekend. Could that lead to some snow for us? It's going to be a lot harder. That means it's going to be a lot harder to lock that cold air in. And so honestly, whenever you see the Euro throwing something like this where the line is way to our north and it's all rain, that's very believable. And whenever you see the GFS showing a solution sort of like this, where the rain snow line is somewhat in our area before going to all rain, again, that's very believable. So right now there's nothing much that we can say about the system except that the potential is there. I do think this could be a system that could give a decent amount of snow somewhere. I have a gut feeling that's probably going to stay up to our north at this time as we speak right now. But this is Monday evening as I'm recording this, and this is a system that's going to roll in Saturday night and into Sunday, so a lot can change between now and then. Should we get a little bit more blocking develop in the atmosphere by then, certainly this could trend down. But here's the problem with that. Whenever you have a positive NAO like this, there is no blocking in the atmosphere. And so, well, basically what that means is you got these lows that develop down here. And let me get a different color on here so that you can sort of see this better. But you got these lows that develop down here, and they trend sort of like this way. But the problem is, because up here in Greenland, that block is not there. Well, what you got really going on, since that is not there, there's nothing hindering this low from cutting even north. So while that is a nice solution here, you notice, it kind of forms down in here and kind of cuts up like this. The reality of it is there would be absolutely nothing to stop it from taking a path like this either. With that blocking there, it could trend us even more north, put us more into the warm sector, and give us an all-rain experience. That is a perfectly legitimate solution, given the teleconnection parameters that we have right now. So the reality is certainly not over for this yet. We can't say one solution is right and the other. It could be rain, it could be snow, it could be ice, it could be a mix of them. But if I were a betting man, I'd bank more on rain than I would anything at this point. We'll trend it as the week goes on, folks. There's no sense in hyping this up. We have seen this a handful of times this season where it showed a nice little storm. As you get closer to it, it turns into all rain. Is that what it's going to be again? That's the likely scenario, I would say. But it has some potential. We'll watch it. Snow lovers, well, keep your fingers crossed, because as I said in my midwinter update a couple of days ago, if we can't get this system to produce between now and the next little, first half of February, if we can't get some systems to produce something, it's about game over for winter. That's not saying that we couldn't get a winter storm in between there, but the pattern I'm seeing develop for mid and late February and beyond is a much warmer pattern from the way things look right now. That's really not going to be conducive. We see that we had the January thaw that went through. Looks like there's going to be a late February thaw that goes through. So if we don't get some snow between now and mid to late February, it's going to be very, very hard to get much more snow this year. So if you're a snow lover, bank on this. You want it to produce that and the system behind it. But at this point in time, it's not looking overly hopeful. We'll trend it and we'll see.